This is Mr. Meatball Man, and we are resuming our playthrough of Road Warden. Alright, let's see. Some settlements collaborate with the Highwayman, providing them with supplies and shelter in exchange for protection and loot. Oh, forgot to plug in my controller. There we go. So I believe when we last left off, we had stopped at the, or we were just outside the inn. I'm positive I saved. Okay. I was about to have a mini heart attack. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Inns like this one fit the regions traveled by merchants, but you wouldn't expect a place of this size in the Forsaken Peninsula. The stone and lumber must have been transported from far away, and the workers, guarded by expensive mercenaries, surely lived for many seasons in a primitive hamlet, subsisting on salted supplies. Say that 5 times fast. There are seemingly no cracks in the wall, and the building was whitewashed only a few years back. The road is wide and beaten. Dozens of souls could hide if not for the buildings. Then, at least in the yard. No, dozens of souls could hide if not in the buildings, and at least in the yard. The expenses and labor put into this fortress were worth many trading ships. The armed people are on the ramparts. I get so tongue-tied. Though you only see what's above their waistline. They're leaning on the parapet, right next to the gate, and you think you notice a glimpse of a smile. They wear gambesons. Each one of them dyed differently, yellow, green, and linen gray. You know, as much as I like reading all this text, it really makes me sort of self-conscious having to read all of this, at first blush, and recording it. And then, I'm tempted to either, when I notice a mistake, either just keep going and power through it or go back and correct it. I think going forward, you guys are just going to have to deal with it because I spend more time doubling back than I do actually finishing the text. Anyway, I approach the gate. A woman in yellow armor leans forward. She has long, curly, disorderly red hair, pointing in every possible direction. This combination of colors doesn't work at all. In the woods, one would have to shout to draw this much attention. There's still a fair distance between the two of you, but she speaks loudly. I hadn't seen a horse for years now. I just said that it's weird to see such a large jackass, huh? Her voice is young and strong, with an accent that reminds you of the villages spread around Hovlevan. But no jackass would wear a saddle, I'd say. She exchanges a few words with a male guard wearing green, giving you time to move closer. Well, this one here says that there really are saddle donkeys. Say, traveler, how hard is it to ride a horse? Let's see our options. We can be friendly, we can be playful, we can be distance, we can be intimidating, we can be vulnerable. Maybe try playful. There's the options. For playful, you wouldn't believe it. The lessons were a pain. For friendly, how about you give it a try? Distance, it's easy to learn the basics, but it's tiring. You train different muscles than those for combat. Intimidating, I don't answer. It's an inn, isn't it? Open the gate. Jeez, someone's cranky. Or vulnerable. Quite hard, honestly. Some days are still rough on me. We'll try playful. You get off your horse and intimidate the silly walk from the day that followed your first long journey, when your whole shell was crying. You illustrate the pain as you move your hand from your back to the hips and thighs. In return, the guards tell you about the time when they had to carry their friend with bitten off leg for 3 days straight to the heart of the woods. Meanwhile, the guards open the gate. I remember them mentioning shell earlier. I wonder if that's like metaphorical, like, oh, your shell is your mortal shell, or mortal coil, whatever. Or if this guy actually has like a shell and I just didn't sort of put it together. Well, whatever. You may be in a good mood. The woman in the yellow jacket smiles at you. But don't get too noisy when you talk to our boss. The man never smiles. He has the world's suffering sculpted on his face. She leads you under the roof. She leads you under the roof under which your palfrey can rest, tethered with a cord to a wooden post near some old hay. Once you're ready, go inside, speak of our boss. Maybe you're hungry? The other guys take care of the various chores. They peek at your mount every now and then as they're splitting firewood, cleaning their clothes, weeding the garden patches, and moving chairs. Two of them are making a rope. You head towards the inn, hearing the piercing scream of a boar from the other side of the yard. I open the door. The locked windows make the air stuffy, and the weak fire in the stove hardly lightens up the hall. A muscular man is sweeping the floor near the stairs, but after he glances at you, he leans the broom against the wall and heads behind the counter. You're lucky to show up. His voice is deep and soft, with a city-like accent. He observes you with a keen attention, yet avoids your eyes. I have a keg of decent ale, wormwood, bog myrtle, juniper, berries, cat's foot. He fills a mug carefully and puts it on the countertop. It's going to spoil soon. Today maybe, and we don't drink here before the even. I hate to see the good stuff going to waste. His skin is dark, almost purple, rare even among the southern tribes, and his hair is naturally bluish. His clothes are quite fancy for manual labor. The elegant tunic wouldn't stand out in the city square. The planks slide out a creak after every step you make, so you slow down a bit. You could swear that the innkeeper made little to no noise. Here you go, he pushes the mug forward. But just so you know, my pelt of the north doesn't belong to Hullivan. You can sleep on the floor if you wish so, but if you want a bed or a meal, you have to pay. We may have some leftovers from dinner, but I need to check. Let's see, friendly option. Thanks for the drink. I see you know how to make friends for Road Warden. Let's see, playful. Let's see, distance. It's a little too unfriendly. Intimidating. Jeez. And then vulnerable. I think I'll go with playful. Happy to help. As a road warden, I'm more than capable of taking the entire cask if you need me to. Alright. This is the guy who's supposed to be super serious, isn't he? Oh well. He sighs, grabs a wet cloth, and starts to wipe down the shelves. From time to time, your conversation is interrupted by splashes of dirty water in a wooden bucket. You're making me regret this. You're already making me regret this. He speaks slowly, audibly. What do you want? Drink the ale. The dark room and wooden walls of the mug make the liquid look as brown as a chestnut. The lee in the spring hits your nose, and the first sip is even too complex, too flowery. While the brewer has used fancy ingredients, the exotic licorice ruins the aftertaste. Now you know why there's so much left. Maybe it takes an acquired taste. The innkeeper nods. I was hoping to see someone willing to patrol the roads. Maybe you'll help me with a worrying thought I have. There are brigands in the woods. Our place is a stronghold, so I'm not afraid of an open strike, but they've gotten more active in the last 2 years. One day they may steal our furs, and I've no doubt that they're the reason why merchants come here only once. Having bandits around gets expensive. I'll bet. He rubs his hands together, camouflaging his paws. I want you to reach Howler's Dale, northwest from here. It's the largest settlement around. I'm sure you'll get there sooner or later. Ask Thighs, the mayor, about Glacia, that bloodthirsty wolf of a woman. I've heard rumors about a raid in the north. If Glacia is ready to break the truce with the locals, I'm willing to join forces with them to get rid of her band. Like I said, that's the thing about these super text-heavy things, but you get used to it. He looks at a nearby dragon bone. Not too difficult, right? Just do it when you have a chance. A couple of days won't make much of a difference. I'll pay you 2 coins when you get back with the news. Fine? Yeah, 2's fine, I think. Great. What else do you need? It's about a Asterion. I'm looking for Asterion, the previous Road Warden. Are you now? He goes to the table and invites you to sit down with him. I don't think I'm going to be of much help. He rests his elbow on the tabletop and grunts quietly to clear his throat. But I do want you to find him, so... When asked about his intentions, he measures his words. Asterion and I made a risky deal, well, a very promising one. Last time he was here, he took 50 coins, my half of the investment. He knocks on the table with a fist anxiously. If you get my coin, or at least find out what happened to the guy, I'll make sure you won't be disappointed after bringing me the news. Could it be that Asterion stole the coins and ran away? He looks at a window and starts to play for Shutter. I just think Asterion ain't the kind of soul that would do such a thing. For him, it wasn't much of a fortune, and I'd risk saying he had earned my trust. Not only mine, you know. It's easy for a Road Warden to make connections. He always had places to go, things to take care of. He rubs the table with his thumb as if trying to clean an invisible stain. I've asked travelers. I sent a couple of my pals to find him. No real news. I know he stayed in White Marshes for a day and was meant to do something for the people there. It's a village in the northwest. Just stay on the main road until you reach the bogs. Then enter them. You may get there before dusk. So, let me know once you find anything, and we may yet return to this whole investment thing. I'll think about it. You know, that's what else do you need? Let's see. Let's ask about that band. Amalgalacia's band. He freezes, observing your hand silently. He wants me to get the answer from the mayor of Hallersdale. I'm on it. Okay, let's see. Any rumors worth sharing? He crosses his arms. I don't like to talk about people who ain't nearby. Show me first that you're someone worth changing that habit for. I can respect it. Although, I guess it doesn't. I mean, I don't know. I don't really mind talking when people aren't there necessarily. Well, unless you're completely unwilling to say it to their face. But I can respect the man's scruples. Let's see. I could eat something. Do you have any leftovers? Yes, I feed them to our boar. I won't give them away for nothing. Prudent man. He tells you to wait, then leaves the building for a few minutes and returns with a wooden bucket and a long stick ending with a hook. Go through the gates, turn left. You see a bunch of bushes. We need some berries. Bring me back a bucket full. You'll be done in half an hour or so. Your horse could use a nap anyway, and I'll prepare something to fill you. The hook is not made of metal or wood. It's a long curved claw. I will almost back. I reach for the tools. Half an hour? That's quite a lot for berry picking. Or will I refuse? No, I'll do it. The tools are cold, not too heavy. You notice a pair of thick gloves at the bottom of the bucket. Ah, the berries are not a problem, the innkeeper smirks. Unlike the snakes. Better scare them away with a stick or move them with a hook. Protect your hands. The little ones won't eat you, but don't get bitten. I'm sure you know how to be patient. Oh, nice. And I'll go right away. Mix it up a little bit. Let's see. The innkeeper knew what he was talking about. You put on the gloves and look through the bushes from a safe distance. It doesn't take long before you notice the first serpent lying on a rock somewhere in the thicket. The creatures are not that large, and even if some of them hiss at you or slither closer, the jabs of the hook keep them at a distance. Back, you foul beast. Back. You don't know much about these berries. They're round and reddish. You wouldn't touch such a color even if you were looking for food in the wilderness. The plants don't have thorns, but the leaves are harsh, so you make sure to thoroughly cover your skin with your clothes. You have to look through many bushes to fill the bucket, but the presence of insects and snakes don't allow you to relax. I gather the berries and go back to the inn. You return to the courtyard. Two of the guards are participating in a friendly skirmish. The wrestling is accompanied by a crowd. I kind of wish I could join in, but I enter the inn. Let's see. The locked windows make the air stuffy, and the weak fire is in the stove hardly lightens up the hall. The innkeeper is sitting on a stool, looking at the flames in the stove, holding a carrot and a knife without using them. Put his fruits on the counter. Great, he peeks inside the bucket. I've got cabbage stew with a few goose chunks for you. I'd serve it even to the merchants if there were anything around. If there were any around. Well, that's good. At least he didn't give me like his most bottom of the barrel crap he could find. The meal is warm and filling. It's well seasoned and not overcooked. Like I've said, I rarely have food to spare, but feel free to ask if you ever stop by. You may be lucky, and I've been cooking my whole life. I'll think. I'm polite. And how did that whole hook of mine work out for you? I see you still have your hands. Give him a hook. I'm fine. How much money do I have anyway? Let's see. Supplies, food rations. I assume I have 5 coins. Single coins worth a lot. Pouch of coins, yeah. Okay. Just gonna check my character sheet too. Alright. Do I want to see anything else? No, I think this guy straight to the point and prefers, wants me to go figure it out my own way if I remember what they said the other day. Let's see. You step outside. Cruxio's pawing the ground. You hear the clinking of tools coming from the armorer's workshop. Why not? Let's go there. You walk past the whale and find a small open shed, not unlike the stable, but with a humble set of tables, carving tools, hammers, sharpening stones, pincers, knives, and other tools. As long as something can be solved by brute force, this place will find a way to do so. There are 2 people sitting on a long bench. The first one is a male with maybe inch-long hair, a cleanly shaven face, a thin, long yellow tunic, bare legs, and sandals. He ignores your presence, so he gambles him with great concentration. The second person is a boy, maybe 15, who's wearing the crude outfit of a farmer. He glances at you, but soon returns to sharpening a long dagger. I'll say hi. The man raises his head, but it's the boy who speaks, focused on his task. He ain't talking. Tell him what it is you need. The man smiles in confirmation, looks at the piece of garment in his hands, then looks around, shrugs, and returns to you with a raised eyebrow. I think I'll ask the obvious question. Could you patch my clothes if they were torn? He shakes his head and points at the uneasincies on his own tunic, then grabs a crude bone needle and shows you its broken head. He wouldn't even if he had the tools, says the boy, but you can try Hounder's Den or Gale Rocks. Let's see. I guess I'll talk to the kid. I look at the youngster, earning the trade I see. Kind of, he answers reluctantly, but his teacher pats his knee, giving him a hard look. The kid clears his throat. Yes, but we both ain't masters, you see. There's not a soul to teach us. So once I'm ready, I'll try hunting instead. Fixing things for others is boring. The man grunts a sound, though you don't understand it. Seeing your face, the boy chuckled. He said, safe. Let's meet in the middle. Boring, but safe. I think I'll leave right now. They don't seem too interested in it. Let's see. I just went to the armor already. Let's go talk to the guards. Well, I'll say this much. My voice is certainly getting a workout. Which is, it's not a bad thing. And I've always liked these sort of text-based games and, reading and things like that. So it's not bad, but I usually, read it to myself. By which I mean I use my, my internal voice, the one in my brain. So it's a little bit more work actually narrating it out loud. But I mean, it'd be kind of a boring playthrough if it's just literally me saying nothing, or not reading it out loud, and just be like, yeah, just read it yourself, bros. The woman in yellow armor is kneeling next to a brown hairy boar, which is resting on its side. The beast is not as large as the dark ones from the forest. It responds to the touch of a human's hand, and brushed with grateful grunting and rapid twitches of a hind hoof. No matter how friendly it appears, it's still tethered to the well, and you have no doubts that its charge will leave Cruxio dead in a breath. When the woman notices you, she steps forward to the board's disappointment. So, the new Road Warden? She points out a window with her chin, forestalling the question. We don't need anything now, but when we travel with our furs, we can use some assistance. She may be around 30, but her warm voice and bright smile are camouflaging the touch of time on her unpowdered face. Like many red-haired people with freckles, her skin is unhealthily pale. I was gonna say 30 isn't that old. They're making it sound like she's 60, but I mean, I guess this seems like it's maybe medieval times. So I guess if I had wager, probably don't live that long. And again, I don't really want to sit there and cast aspersions based on our modern day sensibilities. Anyway, the boar runs up to her, observing your boots and fruitlessly sniffing for food beneath the beaten ground. She pats its back but maintains her focus. How about a game or two? We have a bit of time. We can talk a bit about this and that. Maybe we'll get you a couple of coins. Or lose one. She winks. We can play dice or throw axes at targets. I have no reason to think that my guy is really great at dice, so we'll try the axe throwing. I mean, I have an axe, so in theory, I'm at least vaguely confident at it, hopefully. Your arrival, and especially the dragon bone you pull out, are cheerfully welcomed. The guards prepare a couple of wood planks, which are leaned against the wall. There are also spectators, and you're told that the other hunters are either sleeping or have duty on the tower. Remember, no magic, says one of the players. His face is deadly serious. I wonder if that's from a couple of nightmares that have occurred before, or if that's, they just take the, gambling very seriously. Which, either one's fair. There's going to be 4 participants in 8 rounds. You aim at the target drawn with charcoal. The person whose axe lands the closest to the center of the circle gets the point. Axes that fail to stay in the plank don't count. The person who has the most points at the end of the last turn becomes a winner. I blend in with the group. Okay. Let's see. You talk a lot, but also don't say much. You share casual jokes, memories, and views on luck and optimal stages. Cruxy and Tulio's camp are also brought up. But when you ask about the road or the locals, their stories are vague. The drinks are here. It's a poor beer made from the leftovers after the regular brewing. It's cold, sweet, and doesn't reach your head, but you try to avoid the smell. Just don't spill anything. The boar may get sick, says the opponent with one arm. As a guest, you start with the first throw. Your axe flies well, hitting the very middle of the painted target and piercing the plank with a pleasant thud, which makes it really difficult for the other players to outperform you. A minute later, you've won the first round, but you can't expect to be that lucky every time. Well, that's a good start. 1 second, let me just make a slight adjustment over here. Okay, that should be good. Force. Use a direct violence or threat. Am I threatening someone? I'm gonna skip that. All I can do is try my best. After getting your 4th point, the other players nod with respect. Quite a score. You hear from the guard in yellow armor. She hands you your dragon bones. The other participants carry away the remaining planks. Let's see. We already played the game. Tell me about yourself. After getting your 4th... Oh, we just said that, didn't we? Whoop. Tell me about yourself. Oh, what was that? After a brief giggle, her voice gets cold and serious. Nah, Road Warden. We use names and stories among friends. You ain't one. Don't make me tempt curses. Dang, okay, girl, back up. I guess they're not the chattiest folks, but that's fair. Let's see. Let's talk about berries, I guess. She chuckles. So I've heard. Don't worry about it. Usually we forage by ourselves, but I wouldn't ask you for a dragon. But he wouldn't ask you for a dragon for a meal. Well, he gives small jobs to people all the time just to see who agrees to do them. Wants to judge who's of use and who's too proud for their own good. Some questions about this place. Not too much to tell, honestly. There are many beasts around, both wild game and dangerous monsters. We spend our time surrounded by these walls, leaving only to hunt, forage, or trade. On that topic, any interesting creatures nearby? Here? Everything lives here. She flips her hair. I swear we saw a few dragons, a unicorn family, a battle between trolls and goblins, faced 2 beastmen, and a gargoyle, and a hunting queen shouts all the time. I could tell you all about them, but I won't. She winks and pats the boar on his head. You know hunters have their secrets. What do you usually hunt for? Anything we can eat or sell. If there's a partridge, a squirrel, or a rat, we don't complain. But when we move as a group, we look for something larger. Deers and aurochs are delicious, but we don't always look for taste alone. There's value in bones, antlers, claws, tusks, things people use to make tools or sculptures. We use some of them to make tools and spears. You can never have enough spears, I bet. It sounds like you're surrounded on all sides. She pauses and looks at a strand of her hair, then suddenly speaks up again. And we look for furs, of course. We'll talk about the boar. He says, you and that boar are unusually close. I forgot to read that part out. How could you not be? She crouches and raises the boar's head, but it steps away and squeals as if someone's murdering it. It came with us from the city just in case. We had no clue how our first winter would go, so we needed some backup meat. And it works too, cleans the dirt. She reaches out again to the beast, but it trots away. The woman straightens up with a pleased sigh. We haven't needed to eat it so far, but it's also funny. I learned in my home village that the farm boars are getting a bit smaller and more cuddly, kind of like ibexes, so it's not such a wild, dangerous beast. But we don't let it get close to the other animals, our children. That's fair. Let's see. It's an unusual tower. I expect it to be closer to the gate and shorter. Let's see, tower. I assume this is the tower. Kind of looks like a chimney at first blush, but no, it's obviously a tower. That'd be a pretty massive chimney. Like in Hobbleman, fair, but ain't here to protect the gate. This stronghold was built long before we moved in and not to fight off humans. This tower was meant to be used by those who observe the deep forest. We look out for fires, dragons, and any winged creatures that are looking to roost on the roof. Baldy, she nods towards the man who indeed is completely bald. I mean, I'd hope so with a nickname like that. Has a great eye and sees well even in darkness. Have you heard anything about the necromancers? Oh yeah, someone did say something about that. It's something new, her voice lowers to a whisper. I've never been to the White Marshes, but over the years we've seen people moving away from there, south. They told us that the place has changed too much. A priest died, I think, and a new one awakens the dead. Road Warden, that's all I know. If she's hiding something, she sounds convincing. Let's see, what can I find north of here? I'm sorry, we don't really go to those regions. We stay close to home, only sometimes move south or west to Howlersdale, but only to trade. They're fond of buying more than they need since they take wares to the coast. She takes a long breath, twirling her hair and gathering her thoughts. You know what? I've never seen a beach. And I've been living here for how many? More than 10 years now? She giggles. The only part of the sea I've seen was from Old Pagos, which is located on the hill. I never put a toe in salt water. She looks to another huntress who confirms that her experience is the same. But Old Pagos is a good place as long as you don't mock their order and act nice. They'll also be kind. Boss says they're too serious for him to stand them, but at least they don't bite without a reason. Thank you. I think we're good for now. In guards, armor, well. Let's go to the well. The recently renovated wooden roof covers the well from rain and birds. One of the guards is enjoying the cold drink he drew with a bucket and tells you to use only as much water as necessary. see. We don't need to bathe, so we're good. I think we talked to everyone. Did we talk to the guards already? Yep. Oh, we did that. So, well, whatever. I'm looking for knowledge about wild creatures. 15 dragon teeth. Well, I told you our knowledge is valuable. I don't know. She looks at the board, which seems obsessed with a clump of grass growing next to the wall. 15 dragons, no less. Never mind. I think we're good for now. Let's see, is there anything with the armor? Oh, whatever. Maybe not right now, but I may be needing your services. Oh, well. He nods, points at the laces on the front of your jacket, raises clenched fists to his shoulders, and gently spreads and lowers them, as if he's taking off a robe. You follow his command and allow him to properly inspect your gambeson. After a few minutes, he gives it back, then reaches for his pouch. He pulls out one dragon bone, shrugs, then another one, and waves them, both of them in the air, pursing his lips. He makes a few speech-like noises with his empty mouth, groaning what sounds like, I don't know. I consider his offer. Here comes some repairs. Your jacket as good as his armor can make it. His armor can make it. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Okay, so go to the inn. Okay, Hollersdale, where's that again? Click travel. So I've already went to the inn. I don't remember where Hollersdale is, but let's explore a little bit. So the road uphill meanders, slowing you down and forcing you to pay close attention, not only to the shadows of the trees, but also to the tight rocky passages. You can't help but notice a few caves and find ambush spots. Keep an eye out for any sign of life. Oh, jeez. Everyone in the village. Standing in front of the gate, you hear no voices, no tools at work, no steps. Dozens of birds live along the collapsed roofs. Their fluttering, singing, and squawking is free of worries. If you want to travel any further, you need to ride around the palisade. Searching the ruins may take a lot of time. The broken gate in the north will lead you to the village. The sound of a gentle river reaches you from the east, where you see a saggy fence surrounding an overgrown pasture. Behind the burnt building in the east, you see an oddly barren field. Take a close look at the gate. The palisade is in good shape, and the entrance wasn't even touched by the fire. It was torn away, possibly thrown. The amount of used force must have been huge, but you'd expect that it would push the gate into the village, not away from it. You don't see any marks of a dragon bite. A troll could toss such planks, but after so many years, you see no paw prints. A mage, you can't really tell. Let's check the building. The broken logs and planks are charred, while the wooden walls are rotten and covered in moss. You see no ashes or dust, proving that the fire had happened long ago. The smell is awful, and there's no reason to stay for long. You see no furniture, just some broken shelves. Just a storage room. The valuable odds and ends were already taken by the scavengers. Let's see. Inspect the fields. Yeah, you're surrounded by what looks like a field plot in late autumn, disturbed by hundreds of rains and snowfalls. There's a few clumps of glass and wheat, but a place like this one, abandoned for years, should already have turned itself into a green lake. A barren field? Maybe it was overused, but you'd still expect the weeds to sprout. A curse? The path leading west from here ends at the edge of the field, shifting to a meadow, then a forest. In the north, you see a path leading around the palisade. I don't have a way to investigate, so we'll go back there. See palisade. I think we did that. We'll check the southwest part of the village. buildings, some of which have collapsed, are made of wood, now charred and rotten. You spot claw marks on the walls, especially close to the doors and window frames. They could belong to a dragling, or a large wolf, larger than the gray ones, or a corpse eater. Too many options to make a guess. Yet no beast remains in sight. You find the remains of clothes, furniture, odds and ends. Only one object seemed to be of use. A basket-like fish trap made of vines and willow branches. If a large fish swims to it, it won't be able to get out on its own. It's quite large, but I can fit it on my saddle. Yeah, why not? Let's see. The pasture? Why not? Well, let's go to the main square. In every village, the main square is a fancy area meant to charm the travelers. Yet this is way more than you expected. The house are as big as in Holovan, and the paved ground took a lot of work and materials. The walls, now charred and riddled with holes, made of expensive coated wattle. I have no idea what wattle is. I'll Google it later. The tiles for the roofs also had to be brought here from a different settlement. You peek inside the three smaller buildings. The rotting remains of their former splendor. The birds living in dozens of nests respond to your arrival with quite a commotion. You don't find even a single dragon bone, nor a tool or a piece of furniture left unbroken or unrotten. You're surrounded by bad smells, dirt, animal droppings, and garbage. The well also stinks. It has no bucket, but you'd be afraid to use it anyway. Who knows how many birds have relieved themselves inside, or how many old rats have found their death while climbing up the walls. Suddenly, you hear some sounds coming from the largest building. You stop and touch your aching stomach. Well, I could probably go. I could check it out. I prepare my axe. You step cautiously towards the scent of urine and sweat. The flickering candlelight shows you broken furniture, yet no signs of burnt wood. You consider pulling the other door when a masculine voice proves that your presence is not unnoticed. I didn't want it to come to this. Stay where you are. Whatever you put inside, be a shoe, a hand, or you damn thinker. It'll get a boat. Let's see. Definitely go Carnival. Maybe we'll try distance. I'm the new Road Warden. Let's talk. A short pause. Well, we can talk, we can. But how is it you chose this place to visit from all the others that there are? Because I have a poor sense of direction. He goes on before you respond. It may be that you're telling the truth, so let's say this. My little ballista here is all pulled and ready, but you won't do anything stupid, right? No running, no jumping around. Show your hands. The man's voice lacks confidence, and his accent is tricky for you. He could be from the distant south, but as long as you don't speak too quickly, you understand one another. You don't hear any other movements, breathing, voices. You lean your axe against the door frame and make sure that your knife is well hidden. I walk inside. I hope I don't have to shank him. The dense smell of urine hits you with full force, while the tools and utensils are hard to extinguish from the rubble. The route to the upper floor is blocked by the collapsed roof and loose wooden beams. There are scraps of rusting iron and steel on the ground, detached from the now destroyed barrels. The scavenger is sitting on the blanket in front of the tent, pointing at the floor with his loaded crossbow. Not a short man, though a bit skinny. He's tan, dark hair, and has seen his share of trouble, and has seen his share of struggles. Jeez. There are long claw scars on his left cheek, and another one that would divide his eyebrow in half if it hadn't been consumed by a fire, just by the rest of his forehead. Oh, Road's really a survivor. His clothes are untainted by vanity. It's a nice turn of phrase. He's barefoot in a dirty linen shirt with rolled up sleeves and simple pants that use a cord for his belt. His long beard and hair are untrimmed and tangled. Let me read that description of him again. Long claws on his long scars on his left. Another one on his eye, and then his whole forehead just scorched. Let's see. I'll stand near the door. I don't want to risk getting shanked. We'll have it at a standstill. I stand near the door watching his weapon. I'm prepared. He follows your gaze. Not a good way to make the air warmer, eh? I try to be safe, that's all. And I can't let you stay in my shelter. You better ride ahead. I already piled up what hasn't rotten. The candle lights are dancing on his burnt face and arms. I saw your horse. Maybe you could help me, What are you looking for in this place? You don't sound like you're from the north. I got lost and completely... whatever. It's what it is. Let's ask about Asterion. I'm looking for another Road Warden, a man known as Asterion. I've never met him, but I've surely heard this name many times. He vanished long before I got to the coast. At first, people were asking about him. Now they think he's dead. Listen, he scratched his thigh nervously. I'm hungry, so damn hungry. I can't hunt or fish with all the ape men around. Can you share anything, Roadster? I may be a drifter, but I wouldn't beg if I hadn't lost my bags on the road. Screw it, you can have some gruel. I don't feel like being that much of an asshole. Take these cereals and crackers. With some water, you'll have a gruel. I swear if you try to screw me, I'll shank you. He lets out a relieved breath. I may even boil it. After a moment of hesitation, he grabs a cracker. Without you, I would have had to run after birds with my ballista. But I need to save the boats for the ape men. And because of these stinkers, I can't roast here. And raw meat makes me want to puke. Thank you. After a couple of bites, he puts your gifts in two wooden bowls. Now, Roadster, he says with full mouth. If you have questions, ask. I'll say a lot to make you get me out of here. Oh, so he wants to go with us. Okay, let's hear this. Let me explain first, I was in Hallersdale, the closest village to the east and north, and people there are nice, not like old pagels. They're all boring and grimmer than a crow, but they cry coin for everything, and damn good coin. I left, wanted to look around the ruins, see if there's anything left. They moved to Pelt and hire hunters to help me here. No luck. A bunch of griffs jumped my pack bird. I just brought it. He spits on the floor, fast and nimble, but not brave enough to listen to me when all that screeching and scratching started. I wonder if we'll see a pack bird. I wonder if it's like an ostrich or something. So it ran away with my bags. Maybe it is. A few fell on the ground and I pulled them here. But you see how it is. I won't travel around with a tent on my back. He taps the crossbow with his fingers. I need maybe a day more. Hey, just a day. And have all the iron scrap from the barrels so I can move forward. But I can't take all my stuff alone. Without me around, the 8 men are going to break in and steal all my shit. I need to stay here. But since you have a horse, come back tomorrow and help me return to Hallersdale. How about it? I just need to know if the road is safe. Safe as it can be, I mean, I am headed to Hallersdale, so that could work out. Let's see, what exactly do you want me to do? I need you to make sure there's no danger hiding on the road from here to Hallers. Or rather, I know that there is some danger. But as long as you can get there and safely return, I'm sure we can handle some roaming monsters. He theatrically rubs his hands together. This ballista has hit more beast skulls than I have fingers, and I've never lost a finger, Roadster. Only the toes. Jeez, buddy has really been putting in that work, huh? Maybe to prove it, he starts to count on his fingers. So see, if the road is clear, then come here tomorrow. We'll pack my stuff on your horse and move out. But don't come when it's close to evening. We're going to need 3 hours on our feet, and I won't push the night. Even sleeping next to an ape-man's tribe is safer. He chuckles. And don't make me wait too long. I can wait for a couple of days till I find some food. But if you don't get back, I'll have to risk it, no matter what. Why Hallersdale? If you want to go south, we should travel to the Pelt of the north. Well, let's see. I mean, I see your point, but I've never been there. Can they afford my iron? Do they have the means to pay for it? I need coins to find a handy bunch that will walk south with me. And I need a new staff and boats. I know the village is a nice place and even has a smithy of sorts. Let's see. I hadn't had a chance to look. Wait, hold on. Was that Hollersdale earlier? I don't remember. I guess why I haven't made it there. I don't work for free, most likely. I have ways to pay you, don't you worry. I can give you dragons, but I'll have to sell the iron first, so I need a bit of time, you see. 5 for a short escort would be plenty, I'd say. But if you want, I'll give you a secret jar of mine. A very fine mixture which scares 8 men away. Works on pebblers, too. When you ask if this stench of urine is somehow related to this potion, he swings and chuckles. That was actually going to be my next question. Let's see. I'd like to learn about these villages. Do I really care right now? Yeah, we'll yeah, I'll escort him. Why not? Ah, dang it. Hold on. I missed something. Journal. Wait, no, that's not it. Return. Archive. There we go. Sometimes when you click a little, I think like a double clicks or something. Thanks, Roadster. Just come tomorrow. I'll make it worth your time. I've heard about some bandits. Have you seen any hideouts nearby? No, I think they're in the north or east. I stuck to the Reston Road, and no shell bothered me. Sorry, can't help you. Let's see. Well, I'm curious. You have any idea what happened here? Well, I won't guess, but I saw many ruins. There's no treasure and skeletons here, so that means this place means as much as dirt. Someone was barking too loud, so the beast broke through and made them quiet again. He clicks his tongue. And that's that. Talking about nature's fury brings bad luck, don't you know? Is there anything else? Oh, I'm sure he's checked already. Alright, tell me about yourself, buddy. He gives you a sullen glance. What for? I've no legacy to keep alive in tales. I may tell you this and that after you take me out of here. Alright, that's fine. The closer you are to the village, and the longer you stay around, the sicker you feel. The taste of gas juices hit your mouth, your forehead hurts, and you start to stumble. Cruxio, worried by the sight, pokes your head with his nose. Nah, we're gonna walk away from these walls, we're good. Leaning on your mount, you go outside, keeping your mouth shut. After a few moments, your eyes get clearer. It may be better to leave or stay away from the village for the rest of the day. I agree. Check the pasture, I guess. You stop and touch your aching stomach, whether you want to go. I could probably investigate next time. This isn't what I was here for anyway. The tracks of human footwear and many more ape footprints cover the path formed around the Palisades breach. As far as you can tell, the freshest footprints lead to the village. The wooden stakes spread on the ground are rotten, covered in mushrooms, small flowers, insects, and worms. A good source of animal or goblin food, though you'd expect them to also hunt for birds and eggs. The meadow in the west turns into a forest quickly. The grasses in the north surround dozens of tree stumps, already covered with moss and fungi. Going south, you reach a large field, but you don't see any crops. I shouldn't enter the forest, especially not in this area. It's unpredictable. I'll say that. I'm trying to figure out where to find Hollersdale. I think we go to the... I gotta really get better at these directions. I think we go to the pasture in the southeast. Okay. You don't find a single sign of the livestock that lived here in the past. Any bones, horns, antlers, or dung that have already been devoured by the wilderness. Pasture ends at the river. On the opposite bank, the meadow turns into a thick forest, impenetrable for a rider. What are the chances that a herd of defenseless animals could get there and survive? The breach in the southern fence wasn't made by some brute force. You find axe cuts in the spots that were ultimately broken away. After all these years, there are no tracks that you can follow. I return to the main road. Okay, so we expect the clearing in the west. The meadow is lush and colorful, and so dense it's unsafe for a rider. For a couple of minutes, you lead Cruxio for rope, avoiding the potential disaster in case of a hoof falling into an animal den. Being forced to travel around the palisade every time you get here is going to be a pain. Most of the tree trunks look similar and have a comparable size. They are most likely planted with the sole purpose of being cut down and used by the locals. But cutting so many trees at once, that alone could provoke the wrath of the herds. Such a process should be spread across a couple of seasons, and you can't be sure that was the case. In the west and north, the clearing turns to a wild forest. In the east, you see a road leading north. I leave the clearing. I go to the road leading north from the village. Cool. I think we already did the gate. I'm going to go somewhere else. Oh, wait. I don't think we need to go to the river. So we're going to see what's on the other side of the... Nope, can't do that. We're head to the river. I'm about to pick a fight. You see a quenching family of boars, some of them brown, some black. You consider turning back, but they pay you little attention. After a couple of grunts, they run north. The river is not too wide, yet unusually deep, with banks altered by the locals for decades, if not centuries. The water is cold and clean, yet filled with long plants growing from the bottom. You would rather avoid jumping inside or drinking from it, but you're tempted to at least wash your face, neck, and hands. Understandably, that stench was almost leaving you comatose. Dozens, if not hundreds, of small fish are looking for tasty leaves, but also try to avoid their predators. A dance of life, completely unaware of your presence. You suddenly realize that there's something else buried among the kelp. A rusty sickle sticking out from the ground, a couple of stone axes and hoes. The wooden handles and large wagon are covered with moss, but you recognize their shapes. Why would someone drop them there? Here. On the opposite bank, the meadow turns to a thick forest, impenetrable for a rider. Do I want to wash my hands? Do I want to... I keep touching my stomach, so maybe I'll set up a fish trap. But... oh God, this water probably making... Nope, we're just going to wash our hands. The living stream filled with fish and plants won't help you much. Makes sense. Well, I guess we can try the fish trap. I'll spend some time setting up a fish trap at the bank. You place the basket on the ground, then grab a bowl and start digging, looking for a few larger worms. You bait the stick and push it inside the basket, locking between the sides, then cover the entrance with the lid. Tying it together takes a few good moments, but will be easier later on. You attach the entire trap to a bush and push into the stream, far enough that it sinks entirely. Who knows how long it will take before something large enough swims inside. Still, it will be better not to wait too long, otherwise the prey may die of hunger. Step away. You know, I completely forgot that I can probably just click travel and leave, but that's how it is. So let's try that. So you just... yep, okay. I guess we can come back tomorrow and see about the trap. Let's go here real quick. Maybe we'll get something to eat. Probably hungry. We'll get off the horse and enter the inn. Oh, okay, it's all the same day. Let's see what you have for sale. I don't really think it matters right now, but read we must. I can go and pick up a few things for you. Some food for your travels to start with. Apples, nuts, sausage. Not too many at once. We need to maintain our supplies. I got an elk fur I don't need. Its buyer was caught by a pack of red wolves. Oof. Nice for a sleeping spot. Just as nice for a wall. An almost untouched bowl of soap. Priceless for a traveler. I wonder if it's an actual bowl that just has a bunch of soap in it, but I imagine it is priceless. I imagine you get pretty ripe on them roads. You can probably, ward away people on the roads with that stench. I know it's a horrible pun. You can't tell if he's being sarcastic. Made of fine oak ash, strong, that you should have some better supplies before you start your own bathhouse. After you mention you like something more useful on these roads, he looks down. I don't have any blades or armor to spare, but if you pay well, you can take one of our crossbows and a bunch of quarrels. A yew-bow, wool cords, and the trigger needs just a little bit of oil. It's as good as you can get without soaking in magic. Takes a bit of muscle to draw, but even a 16-year-old could handle it. I won't sell it cheap, but I'm ready to give a discount to a helpful ally. Oh, thank you, buddy. Do I need any fashion? Yes, I do need some rations. So I'll buy one of those. I might get that. Give that to Buddy. I think we're good for now. And we'll travel. And we'll go eastward a little bit, and we'll see how we feel. The curvy road east is overgrown. Cruxio trots when it has a chance, but more often it walks, forced to jump over larger branches blocking the path. The nearby lake is surrounded by thirsty wildlife. I observe the dark forest, ready to react if something jumps at me. A couple of stone slabs were turned into a hut-like shape, one of the ancient chapels raised by the priests of the United Church in the days of few soldiers and even fewer shelters. The dolmens proved to be especially durable, though the conditions they offered were harsh. The entrance is barely wide enough to let you walk inside. It was meant to keep larger beasts away, including your palfrey. You can't spend the night here. You dismount and look around. Do I want to approach the hourglass, or do I want to enter a chapel? Let's look at the hourglass first. It's the most common religious sign of city folk, adapted by the United Church, Orders of Truth, and the majority of fellowships. It's used in temples and during the funeral rites, but also to decorate codices or jewelry. The winged hourglass portray the ephemerality of life and the rigidity of time. When possible, they're made of steel, signifying the strength of humankind's determination and innovation. As a member of an Order of Truth, I should bow before the hourglass to honor the brave builders of the past. It's but a sign trying to protect an obsolete building. I guess we can honor it. Why not? I probably would have just been like, oh, that's cool, and then keep moving on, but hey, whatever. You stay in front of the symbol, lowering your head and gathering your thoughts. You try to imagine the struggles of the valiant builders who put their time, sweat, and blood into the gathering, shaping, and transporting of these huge rocks. They are led by a vision, one that requires artistry, planning, and a sense of shared purpose. They did it for the sake of future generations, and even if their names are forgotten, they saved many lives. The orders teach to be thankful for such sacrifices. In your silent prayer, nature seems both distant and complimentary. It doesn't shape itself around your thoughts, but you feel like nothing is going to hurt you, not while you're here. For a while, you balance between chaos and order. So be it, you say at the end of your prayer, as the tradition has taught you. The birds are singing delightfully. I step away after my prayer. Cruxio is listening to the leaves carefully. We'll go into the chapel. The beams of light get through the gaps between the rocks, but you can hardly see anything. A torch would fill the place with smoke, but a candle would suffice. You wonder how many travelers have sat on the cold rock, absorbing the entrance and fighting with their heavy eyelids. Yes, we can look around a little bit. What are you looking for or paying attention to? I don't know, bro. Yeah, door, sure. Look for something else. Floor. Even though part of the ground is covered with a single massive slab, there are sections free of any flooring. You see soil, small rocks, sand, and one spot you found the remains of charred wood. Roof. You see a couple of spider webs. One of the spots in the ceiling is covered by soot. Walls. Yeah, I know they're all around me. Look, bro, I'm trying, okay? Treasure. Something unusual. Traps. Let's try that. Okay. Outside. I think we're good here. For the east, and I think we'll call it a night after this. Okay. Dramatic music tells me I need to pay attention for a second. The neglected path barely finds any space among all the hills, trees, and streams. There's a deer on the ground, lying in a red puddle, surrounded by a small pack of creatures which notice your presence quickly. Oh crap. There's about 8 of them, with thick furs and shades of brown, gray, and black, and hairless faces with small eyes and large mouths, currently stained by the blood of their prey. Some of them move on all fours, while others comfortably stand on 2 feet. They are 2 to 3 heads shorter than you, but it's your mount which truly towers over them, and you see how a couple of the beasts take a few steps back, grunting and glancing at one another. The one with gray fur shouts, and the others move towards the rocks and stick which are piled on the road. They hold them awkwardly, and some struggle to maintain a straight posture, leaning on their new weapons for support. Then almost all of them spread to your left and right, blending with the shrubs loudly. Only 2 of the apes are standing still. Well, crap. Let's see. I can turn around, or I can, power through it. I'm gonna power through it simply because I don't know what else I would have done. I already went the other direction. Yeah, let's do it. I'm probably about to die here. I grab my axe and hold the reins tightly. Cruxio tries to turn around, but loyally follows your directions. Let's see. Charge at the goblins. I scream at the pack. I want to charge them? I don't know. That seems a bad idea. No, screw it. We'll try the action hero thing. Oh my god. Food. No, they already have food there. Yeah, screw it. We'll charge. Your mount speeds up, though it doesn't have enough space to enter a gallop. You prepare your weapon, but while you may have hundreds of hours of training behind you, hardly any of them happened in the saddle. You do your best to focus. The younger goblin attempts to stop your horse. The strike it receives sent it into the nearby bush, screaming in pain. The gray one, however, manages to grab your boot and is now trying to keep up your speed, making one long leap after another. The first strong swing of your axe, it wasn't able to reach the target. A spear would do better in this scenario. So it is a goblin. I thought I read goblin earlier, but then I read something about ape. So this is some Goblin Slayer stuff. Okay. We'll try to kick it off. You swing your foot around, or at least you try, overwhelmed by the weight and muscles of the beast. You finally find the right moment, just when its goblin lands on its paws. The precise hit between its eyes make it roll over on the road, and your mount runs faster. Your leg is free, the road is clear. Alright, run as fast as we can. Come to think about it, what am I supposed to clear that pace? Yeah, I'll kill him off tomorrow or something, but at least we know we can make it through. For a few more moments, you hear the angry shouts and screeches, but soon after that, it's again only you and your mount. Okay, so we could make it through. Maybe next time I'll get a spear like they noted. Time to see what we're gonna find down the road. A round pine tree blocks the road. For a wayfarer walking over the thin branches at the top, it's not much of an issue. Even Cruxio, led on a rope, can walk around the stump, but a large wagon couldn't move onward more in peace. At least not without detaching the mules, unpacking all the wares, and moving everything by hand. Cutting a tree into pieces would take hours, even with the proper tools, and you can't hope to move it with just the muscles that you and your mount have to offer. I don't know, bro. I'm pretty ripped. I'm not gonna claim I can. Well, I am claiming that. I probably could move that tree. I don't know, I wouldn't want to. That's a lot of work. Let's look around. Took the wagon real quick. The planks are still firm and there's no mustiness in the air, but the vehicle needs just a push to fall to pieces, like a child's toy of nothing to keep the parts together. There are ways to construct the wagon with just wood, leather, and fiber, but you find the marks with hinges, braces, nails, and clamps, which are all gone now. The wheels are missing, there's still rims. You only find one linen bag, empty and moist. You can't estimate how deep the tracks are. The ground was hard. The cart's weight wasn't a significant factor. Is there anything we really care about? Let's see. We've gone on for an hour and 6. Let's look at the surrounding area real quick. Turn to the wagon. Let's see. Flip the tracks. In trampled grass, you find two sets of tracks to follow. There are no hoof prints. The first set is near the destroyed wagon. The wayfarer suddenly stopped. You can see where they made a sharp turn. The second trail is close to the tree stump. Most of the marks were left by flat, cheap boots, not suitable for long walks. But someone was wearing hard, wide heels distorting the ground. Both trails avoid the eastern wilderness. They stick to the main road and lead you north. They could have belonged to 24 people, maybe more. You follow them for a bit. I lose them once there's no more mud and tree needles to find. Go back to the wagon. You know what? I think we're gonna call it a night here. We did some studying. We got a little bit more information about the world. We befriended the innkeeper. We found that burned abandoned village. We met up with that vagrant. I feel like he had a scavenger. That was his official title, the scavenger. And we made enemies of some ape men. So I think, all in all, that's gone pretty well. So thank you for watching this playthrough of the Road Warden. This is Mr. Mebro Man. If you find this not painful to watch, please like, subscribe, and I will catch you guys later.